Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Lifestyle with Dr. Mobi. I'm Dr. Mobi, and today we are so fortunate. We have great celebrity today with me. He is really fun to talk to and to know him. Let's welcome Mr. Dean Piper.
Well, thank you, Dr. Moby. I'm glad to be here, and it's definitely an honor.
Okay, great, sir. So I was before the show we were chatting, and I was so impressed with his resume. He has done so many things. Let's hear from him firsthand. So tell us about yourself, sir.
Well, I've had a long journey, gone through a lot of things in my life to come to where I am today. And I think I finally found where I'm supposed to be. And I think we take these journeys in life and we think we're on the path we're supposed to be on. And then there's, turns in the road that we don't expect. And those turns in the road, in my opinion, are what bring us to where we're really supposed to be. Uh, I started off, uh, in the investment business. I was a financial planner, owned several brokerage firms. And, it's interesting because I partially loved that business and I partially did not love that business. And I had that love hate relationship with the business. But
Hmm.
one thing that is tied together with where we're at today is, I used to pay to have a radio show back then to get leads for my financial business and give financial advice and that. So, it's very interesting because that's really where I ended up. And I've also had a mindset of a motivational type person since I'm 11 years old. I started listening to people like Tony Robbins and Zig Ziglar at 11 years old. It's been a way of life. And during my investment years, I used to bring a lot of my brokers to different seminars, but I used to do my own meetings too. And they're like, I don't understand why you keep taking us to all these seminars. You're much more dynamic than they are. You should become a motivational speaker. And my father used to have this saying, if 100 people tell you you're drunk, lie down. And that's exactly what I did. One day I just was finally tired of the love hate relationship of the financial business, and I handed the keys to a broker that worked for me. I'm like, the business is yours now, and that's when I started my journey to be a motivational speaker, not as just a way of life, but as a living. Uh, and through that, I was still doing radio. I was doing radio shows to spread my message, promote my seminars, and create positive change throughout the world.
Mhm.
Then we came into this era of technology
Mhm.
and the very infancy of what is internet radio and was leading us to what we're doing now, which didn't exist before. And I had this vision that internet radio and podcasting, before podcasting was even a word, internet TV, all that stuff was going to be what life was going to be. It was what technology was going to be. It was what media was going to be. And it was the new wave. And people thought I was nuts. They thought I was crazy. And I would tell people, you're going to hear radio in your internet radio in your cars. We didn't even have, like smartphones then. We had
Yeah.
flip phones, and
Mhm.
people just couldn't believe it. And I kind of looked at it as if I was Bill Gates and the rest of them were IBM. Bill Gates went to IBM with this concept of a PC in every home, and IBM's like, "You're nuts. The mainframe will never go away." And we know how that story ended.
Yeah.
Uh, but I also had this vision that you had to do it professionally. Okay.
Mhm.
You couldn't just sit in your bedroom and, in your skivvies and get on and do radio. That's not the way it's done. So to me, if you wanted to succeed, you had to do it like a real radio station.
Mhm.
Professional studios, state of the art equipment, professional engineers, and so that's exactly what I did when nobody was doing it. The internet radio people were all using like their computers and nothing. They weren't, they were just on their computer. And mine, I created to have the look and feel of an AM FM station. I was just using the internet. And, I also was doing podcasting before it was even a word. And now we know where we are today. And I started with one station. Now I have several stations that have branched off. We have couple main stations. We have a station that's an all health and wellness station. We have a station that is an all cancer station. We have a station that's an all women's station. And we have a partnership with iHeartRadio, Pandora, Spotify, Amazon Music, Amazon Prime for our TV station, which we also have. And we distribute to about 100 others. And I I have combined both worlds, my motivational speaking world and my radio world, into one, so that the way I look at it is I could do a seminar and have 5, 10, 20,000 people, or I can get on the mic and talk to millions of people all over the world and spread a positive message of change, something that is so desperately needed, especially in 2020 with all the negativity and the division and COVID and everything else. People need to unite, be together, be positive, and look forward to the future. My viewpoint is, hey, the 1918 pandemic was followed by the roaring 20s. So we're going through this now. Let's see what the future holds. I think it's bright.
Yeah, and that is so true. I think with 1918 didn't then followed by 1920 was booming, and because we stayed on ground and because we believed in ourselves, and that is so important right now. And I'd say there are a lot of lessons actually we learned from COVID-19. That is to pay more attention to our loved ones, families, friends, needy people, and value life. You know I think people will imagine that they will be sitting in, and if somebody has COVID or something, and they are in these ICUs and looking at those white walls or walls pretty much, and there's nobody to hold their hand, and it is so sad. A lot of people died, and they passed away with nobody around them except saying goodbyes on face time or something, like
Yeah.
and that was very hard. I don't know, my parents also got COVID, and it was very hard for them even to go to hospital because of this same reason. Is this scared? Everybody's scared that they might go and die in loneliness, and I think then they're not afraid of even COVID. Then they say, okay, let us die here. Then we don't want to
Yeah.
die in loneliness, and that's so true. So I think it's a very important point that we will believe in each other, continue and love each other, because I think that's we have only each other. There's no
Yeah.
other species is going to come down and help us, unfortunately or fortunately, right?
And we have one race. It's the human race.
Yes.
Period.
And there I think there was somebody's quote that wise people don't divide people into different religions or race or whatever. There and then those are fools who divide people into different. So there are only two categories: wise and fools. So you can be in one or the other, right? So, and that's it. That's so true. COVID does not differentiate if you are black or white. It's gonna kill you. Okay,
Yeah.
so that's about. Yeah, that's true. There are less deaths in certain population, and there are more deaths in minorities. That's also true. That is because of the health reason. Simple
Yeah.
reason, because they don't take care of their health, and then there's nobody to blame except yourself and ourselves. That's
Yeah.
about it, because I see that all the time. Minorities, and being myself from minority, a lot of deaths were in minorities actually, and there's nobody to blame but themselves.
True story. True story. And I think the at the end of the day, it's times like this you're focusing on something that I've been talking about for a long time. You know, I think this was God or whatever you believe in
Yeah.
intervening because listen, we were going a million miles per hour, 24/7, no shutdown mode, no appreciation of life, just going, 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 and no way to stop. And what happened during these times of COVID and quarantine and lockdown? Like you said, the opportunity to be with family that you may not have had before, the opportunity to get more rest that
Mm.
maybe we weren't getting before, the opportunity to recharge, the opportunity to shut down from all the electronics and all the other stuff, the opportunity to appreciate your friends, appreciate certain things, so many opportunities to, really treasure life, which I
Mm.
think we weren't doing. And then we talk about the planet. Okay. What
Mm.
was it? If it's true, and I'm sure it is, that the first time the Mount Everest, the top of Mount Everest, was seen in however long, you look at Los Angeles, the smog went away before these fires happened, unfortunately. But I mean, animals coming out that were like not seen, that were hidden because people were not out. And I just think, as bad as COVID is, and as scary as it is, and all the things we've had to experience, like watching people in pain and lonely and die, there's good things coming out of it too. And maybe we can come through this as better human beings and a better planet.
That is so true. I think with time, is corrosive elements gather around our heart and our emotions and everything. So now we are kind of going backwards, back to basics. Actually, not backward, but going back to basics, default mode.
Yep.
And you were so right. In Italy, when it was at the peak COVID, they saw fish in Vatican area. That water was cleaner. Fish came back. So why is that? And with all the pollution and everything we talk about, but one thing we don't talk about is that we are the one causing it.
Yeah.
you know so then, yeah, we can argue, okay, this can be green effect, that's true, but there has to be a life where we don't disturb other species so much and we don't destroy that. I think I had a guest and it was very interesting, was saying that people are going to space. So what they're gonna do about the space debris right now is really really bad, because all the satellites, everything around Earth, there I'm sure you watched the movie where there were space junk and was destroying everything, because those particles are not destroyed, they remain outside. So who's gonna dump all that junk, so, or you know
Well, you know what I said lately? They were talking about Elon Musk and sending people to Mars, and my only response was, "Great! Now we're going to go destroy another planet."
Yeah, exactly. So what about here? Why don't you fix that first?
Exactly. Let's destroy the planet and go destroy another one. Like that. That's kind of way I look at it.
Yeah, yeah, same. Yeah, I think I totally agree. The satellites outside those, they are building all that, and nobody's questioning them. Nobody even asks, okay, well, you won't be able to even pass the Earth with these kind of junk around it. You
Yeah.
know, this silly. It's
Well, and I sit there and I think about the moon and the side of the moon that we can't see, and I'm firmly convinced that we're doing something over there. Because why do we keep going there? We're not just keep going there for no reason. There's a reason we're going there, and we just can't see what's really going on.
Well, there's one, concept which I read, was that they are looking for those rare metals, because a lot of countries already, whatever was in the earth, they already took that. So they're
Yeah,
trying to find those rare metals, or different metals might be worth billions of dollars, to build a new equipment and supercomputers, and that's true. Well, that's fine, they can do, but don't destroy the planet, don't, I mean, or other planets, or
yeah.
so. So those are, yeah, but ultimately comes down to health and your lifestyle. And I think you shared before the program, was very fascinating, that you yourself had diabetes, and tell us about that journey.
So, I am a firm believer in, our body is the healing medicine. And I am somebody that is anti big pharma. I think things like, yes, I was diagnosed with diabetes. And to start the story, we know our own bodies if we pay attention.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And, basically, I knew something was up. And I have actually, there's a pharmacist here near my studio. And she actually believes in natural health, okay, even though she's a pharmacist. So if you go to her pharmacy and doctor prescribes something, she'll say, why was this prescribed to you? And she'll give you a natural uh, alternative instead, which is something that I love. So she knows how I believe. And I called her up. I'm like, listen, I need to go get some blood work done because I have a naturopath that I deal with, but I need some blood work done because, I think I have an issue and it's either my sugar or my testosterone, one of the two, based on what I'm feeling. And can you send me somewhere who's not going to try to force me to get on meds because I'm not going to take them? And, will understand my point of view because it's very rare to go to a doctor that will, accept your point of view as far as natural health and going against what they're trying to do.
Mhm.
So she did give me somebody who actually it was pretty funny, was right downstairs from my studio. And I was really amazed by this doctor because when I walked in there, before doing anything, before the blood work, he sat and talked to me for an hour and a half.
Mhm.
But what doctor does that nowadays? You go in, they're in there for 2 seconds and they write you a script, you know? So there I felt comfortable. And I told them, everything I was feeling. I told them all my philosophies, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, did the blood work and it turned out, yes, I had diabetes. And he goes, man, you do know your body because you caught it right in the beginning. And I think that's a big key for people is like, you know, don't question your own body. Your body will tell you,
Yeah.
okay? And if you let it go too long, that's when you have problems. So I caught it in the beginning, and then I went to my naturopath with that diagnosis, and she proceeded to put me on a very strict food diet and supplements. And I followed that. It was a 6 month ordeal that was, for most people, would be very difficult, but I have this viewpoint. You know what? It took me how many years of my life to poison my body, you're not going to fix it with some magic pill or in 2 days. And that's why people take pills. It's like they want everything fixed immediately, but you're not fixing it. You're just masking it and prolonging it. So my naturopath, she said, we're going to rebuild every cell in your pancreas so it works properly. Now, here's the thing I know. If you go on these diabetic medications, they basically inhibit your pancreas's ability to ever function again and produce insulin so that you're dependent on these for the rest of your life. And that's how our body works. 6 months I went through this, and it's funny, people are brainwashed nowadays. My son, he says to me, I got to give you props, Dad. I wouldn't do what you're doing. I would just take the meds so I could eat whatever I want. And that's the attitude that's the problem because even when you're taking the meds,
Yeah.
you can't just eat any way you want. So I said to him, I'm like, yeah, the difference is you would have to take the meds and still eat the same way I'm eating. I'm just preferring to just do the eating and not take the meds. And 6 months, I reversed the diabetes through just food, no invasive stuff, no meds, and I refuse to ever take the meds because you go places and it's like, oh, you have to do this. No, I don't. And I've gotten into arguments throughout the years, and you'll appreciate this, with people with diabetes that said that, bull crap, you didn't do it, you can't reverse diabetes, because that's what they're brainwashed to think. No, they're brainwashed to think that you cannot reverse these diseases or cure these diseases. Why? Because healthcare in the Western world is sick care. It's keeping you sick as a return customer. You know, if I'm healed, I don't need doctors. I don't need hospitals. I don't need big pharma. And, Is it tough sometimes? Sure, it's tough. But you know what? I spent my life poisoning. I was a sugar addict, a chocoholic, a carb addict. Listen, the way I looked at it in my mind is I spent 40 some odd years doing all that stuff. Okay, so I had a good run, is the way I look at it. But now that I reversed it, I can't do what I did before, but I can do certain things in moderation and I can treat myself. Like that 6 months that was brutal is not what I live now. What I live now is moderation. I wasn't living in moderation. That's the problem. My kids would make fun of me. They're like, don't leave a pan of brownies out at night. They'll be gone by morning. And
I
they were right.
I know. So, and I think a lot of interesting concept, and I also shared with him. I myself lost 100 pounds. I was diagnosed with diabetes. Same thing. Being doctor, practicing for 20 plus years, a firm believer in medications and giving a lot of my patients same thing. So, this was a test for me too, that I felt very uncomfortable taking medication myself, and so I thought there has to be a better way. And like you said, you want to reverse the disease. You want to get rid of that. Do not uh, feed the pharmaceutical company rest of your being customer. Don't do that. You can do that. I mean, you can do whatever you like, but it's important that we realize that we want to help our body. You want to go back to natural form, what you were born with. You were not born, nobody's born with medications, hopefully. And
Right.
then you want to live your life to your natural way, not artificial way with medication. What good is going to do if we're going to eat a big food and then take 20 medications on top of that, and
Right.
then then feel awful at the end? So I don't know.
And it
So,
changes your chemical makeup, as you know. So, like, you're changing your actual chemical makeup of your body with those meds.
and same thing, a lot of people, with me doing sleep medicine, a lot of people seek for medication for sleep. And I said, even you get medication to sleep, that is not a normal sleep. It can never be a normal sleep, because those is a chemically induced sleep, and those have lot of problems. And not to mention, a lot of celebrities actually died while experimenting that kind of sleep. So the question is always, if you know, I say, look at the animals, look at the birds, look at, they don't have sleep problem. They are perfect. If you try to feed birds late towards evening or night, they don't want to eat. They are done for the day.
Yeah.
But we don't. We think we are the most smartest organism on this planet. Well, you can eat a big meal at 12 o'clock, and we'll just say, okay, well, let's party. What does that is so interesting that we the animals are perfect in that, but we are not. So, but and we have problem. We have a lot of problem, not one problem, many problems. So those are bodies. We need to take care of our body, like you said, sir. 40 years or whatever years we have, and we really didn't help them at all, and now, yeah, they can reverse it. We are very fortunate that nothing happened by now. Many people, even sometimes they smoke even for a few days and their lungs are totally gone, but some can be smoker for 70 years and nothing happens.
Oh,
But
it's Russian roulette for sure. I used to be one of those people that talk like that because I was a smoker for 36 years. I had one grandfather that died of smoking at 64. I had one that lived in his 90s. So my argument always used to be like, you know, it's not necessarily just the smoking because some live, some don't. But do we want to play Russian roulette and see if we're the one that doesn't?
that's, yeah, or musical chairs, and see if it's our turn to go. But the reason is very simple: is genetic makeup, where genetically everybody is different, unique. And so the effects and side effects of medication and the disease is totally different on everyone. So
Yep.
some might even drink a little bit alcohol, and that's the end of their, they can handle. but some might take a lot of alcohol and not have nothing with
Yeah.
how our bodies tolerate things. So that's a normal thing, but you always want to do a conservative on that, but you want to play safe because you don't know, and be gentle to your body, right? So you don't have to be aggressive to your body, right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
any final thoughts for our? I can't believe we reached the end, but
I know
and
it goes quick, doesn't it?
any
Well,
final,
say that again.
sorry, any final tips for my audience?
Well, we're going through hard times right now, no
Mm.
doubt about it. But I'm a firm believer is it's not what happens to you, it's your outlook towards it. Okay. And yes, rough times for sure. But think of all the rough times we've had in our life. And while you're going through it, it seems like it lasted forever. But then when you look back on it, it's just a little blip in history. This is a little blip in history right now. Okay. And who knows, a year, 2 years from now, we'll look back at this and it won't seem as bad as it seems right now. There is hope. There is a rainbow. There is something at the other end of the rainbow. And you know what? The only way we're going to get through this is together, all of us, through love. We need to stop the division, stop the attacking, stop the arguing, stop all of it, and just band together as one people, one race, the human race. And all together, we can beat this. That's where we have the strength. Our strength is in our togetherness and our love for each other as a species and a love for our planet as well. And you know what? Keep the hope alive because, it's always darkest before the dawn. We're in the darkest part. The dawn is coming.
And that's a very powerful word. And it's really was amazing knowing you and talking to you. And I'm sure my audience really benefited a lot from your nice words and kind words. You take care, sir, and it was a pleasure seeing you. Thank you for
Well, thank you very much. And thank you for having this outlet for that we can help people.